Hi children, how are you all? Are you fine? I hope you all are fine and well. Okay, let's begin our subject Essays and chapter Elements of Weather and Climate. So in our last period, we have seen lot many things about that temperature, climate, then that atmospheric pressure and everything. Okay, so that measurement of that pressure, you can see that the unit of that measurement of air pressure we can measure is called the millibar. The measurement of air we can measure that unit is called millibar, and the air pressure can be measured by using a mercury barometer and aneroid barometer. So barometer is the instrument can measure it can that measure the pressure of that air. Okay, the pressure belts. So that the earth receiving unequal amount of heat. All the places are not equally that heated and not equal cold, means there is inequality in all places in the heat and cold. So atmosphere is different everywhere in all places. You can see in a warm area you can see that the air gets heated and it extends its density, and it decreases that pressure and exert that less pressure. On the other hand, in the cold area the air that increases its density of air, and thus the based on the temperature zone, that there is a based on temperature there will be a belt. That imagine that belt is there, that low pressure belt and high pressure belt. So however these pressure belts are there, this not permanent, it can move by season or after time it can move. So the pressure belts are there, high pressure belts and low pressure belts. So we'll see first equatorial low pressure belt. Equatorial low pressure belt is there that extends between that 5 degree north and 5 degree south, that the equator, and in this area it receives the maximum heat. The equator area, it receives the maximum amount of heat in this area throughout the year. That sun rays vertically fall, so it receives more amount of heat, and warm air rises vertically above the equatorial regions. Next is the subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt extends from the tropic to above that 30 degree and both hemisphere, that you can see in northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, and it is called the north subtropical that high pressure belt, and in south that hemisphere it is called the south subtropical that high pressure belt. So these belts are exist because of the air. That air rises from the equatorial area. So the air, it moves from that high pressure to the low pressure area. Subpolar low pressure belt. Subpolar low pressure belt is there. It located around the 60 degree north and the 60 degree south latitude. They are known as subpolar low pressure and the subpolar that low pressure belt respectively in the zone. Cold winds coming throughout the year in polar regions, and they get that less amount of it, and throughout the whole year they'll be cold. Polar high pressure belt. In polar region, that the temperature is low throughout the year, and the air is compressed because the temperature is low. So thus the density of air is there. The density is high. Hence, these are that high pressure that areas in northern hemisphere, and this belt is called the north polar high pressure belt, and the southern hemisphere is called the south polar high pressure belt. Then that wind. We all are familiar about that wind. Wind is there. It is moving in different direction. The moving air is called that wind. Due to that difference in pressure in different area, the wind moves from place to place, different directions. So you can see that the wind usually do not blow straight in directions. They moving from high pressure belt to the low pressure belt. So the measurement of wind is there. You can see the measurement of speed of wind. The speed of wind is measured by an instrument is called that anemometers. That is instrument we can measure the speed of the wind and the direction of the wind. It can measured by the wind vane. Wind vane is the instrument we can measure the direction of the wind, and anemometer is the instrument we can measure that speed of wind. Types of winds are there. Types of winds. There are three types of wind: planetary winds, periodic winds, and local winds. You know that some winds are there that blow from high pressure belt to the low pressure belt throughout the whole year. Constantly it blow throughout the year. They are known as that planetary winds. They are permanent wind also we can say. So next is there that periodic winds are there. Certain winds are there. They change their direction from that season to season, and in different direction, in different season they blow like a periodic. For some period of time it blow, hence they are known as the periodic winds. They change their direction according to the seasons or period of time. So they are called that periodic winds. Then we can see that local winds. The local winds are there. You can see that the local winds blow over small areas for a short period of time. Local wind it blows on an area for a short period of time, and they have different names in different that area. They are called by different names. Chinook in that North America, that wind, local wind of North America is called Chinook. Then point in that Europe, in Europe that local wind is there, that is called a point. And in Harmattan in South Africa, local wind is called Harmattan. Then you can see that local winds blow over a local area on a short period of time. Cyclones and the anticyclones are variable that winds. You can see that they tense and change their directions. You can get surrounded by the low pressure wind is there and to high pressure to low pressure it moves. Humidity is there. We will see that humidity. Humidity means the amount of water vapor present in the air. The amount of water vapor present in the air is called that humidity. So it is closely that linked with the temperature. The humidity of water vapor is more, then the temperature will be low. And more is there, temperature will be low. So less amount of humidity, temperature will be hot. It affects the temperature. You know, the humidity is there, it affects the temperature. Condensation. Condensation. The process in which that water vapor process in which the water vapor present in the air gets converted into the liquid that state is known as that condensation. The process in which that water vapor in the air it changes its form and convert into the liquid state is called that condensation. So condensation it receives the process of that evaporation, the reverse process of evaporation in which water is changed into the water vapor, that is called evaporation. So clouds are there in monsoon season. You have seen many clouds in the sky. So you can see that a cloud is a large collection of tiny condensation droplets of water. A cloud is a large collection of droplets of that water is present. These droplets are so small and light and they can float in the air. The formation of cloud happens by the small water vapors and they are so light and they can float in the air. Clouds are formed when that water vapor in the air condense and around the dust particles and floating in the air. Dew is there, you can see that dew. When a warm that moist air hits the cold surface, warm moist air, it hits the cold surface of air and it reaches at the dew point to the coldness to its form. Water droplets on the cold nights, you can see that. So when warm air hits the cold surface and it reaches its dew point, so and the coldness to form water droplets on the cold night on the tree leaves, you can see that droplets in the morning. So this process happen, that is called that dews. That dew is there, you can see in early morning on the leaves of tree, you can see some droplets of water on the leaves of tree or grass. Fog. Fog is formed when condensation takes place on a ground level. The condensation process it happens on the ground level. Then you can see that it can be thick or thin, and thin fog is known as the mist. That condensation takes place on ground level, it is called that fog, and it is thick is there, then thin, it is called that mist. Next thing is frost. So when the temperature is there, the temperature of a solid surface is below dew point, the water vapor condense and it's a change into the ice crystals which convert into the ground, which cover the whole ground, which convert into the ice crystal and covers the whole ground. This covering of that ice crystal is known as the frost. Sometimes the temperature of that solid surface is below the dew point, then the water vapor condense to ice crystals. Temperature is below that dew point and the water vapor condense and into the ice crystals, and that ice crystals cover the whole ground, and that is called that frost. Precipitation is there. Precipitation. When condensation of water vapor takes place continuously and minute droplets of water, you can see that are formed on that joining together. These all droplets join together in that condensation process, and they become bigger and heavy, unable to float in the air. So in the form of rain, it falls on the earth. That is called rain. That condensation of water vapors like continuously, and the droplets of water are formed. They are joining together and they are heavy in weight. For some time they unable to float in the air. They float on the earth, that in the form of rain. That in this process called precipitation, that rain, drizzles, snow and sleets are there. So that droplets of water fall on the surface of the earth. So that is called rain. Droplets or small droplets, and small size droplets are falling. That is called drizzles. And that convectional rainfall is there. Convection, that is the transfer of heat by the movement in gas or liquid, you can see, in which warmer part moves to the colder part. Convection is the process in which that warmer part takes place of that colder part, and when air comes in contact with the hot surface and of the earth, it gets that heated and rises due to the convection. At that higher levels, the water vapor in the air condense to form clouds. It is a process when the heat airs taking the place of cold air, and it rises, it heated and rises up in the sky, and for result it's that rainfall. It is called the convectional rainfall. So at a higher level, that air reaches first of that high and heated, high pressure heated air. It takes the place of that low pressure air, and with the moisture, so it rises up, and with the rises of height, it's a fall in the form of rain on the earth. It is called that convectional rains. At a higher level, this water vapor, that air contains. In short, you can see that the overloaded happen on the water vapors because of the height, increase of height, that droplets are overloaded in the sky, unable to float, and it become overloaded. So fall on the earth in the form of rain. It's with the thunder or with the lightning. It's fall on the earth, thunder or lightning. Then we'll see relief that rainfall. Relief rainfall is there when a mountain or any hill area or mountain coming in the way of that monster laden that wind. The winds are trying to Up the wind means winds are forced to move upwards. When any mountain in moving air with moisture, any mountain or hill area coming, so the winds are forced to move up, and because of that height, that pressure of air, it that the greater height, the winds condense and form the clouds, and with the more height, which brings rain. So that side of mountain, one side of mountain gets rain, and one side did not get rain. So one side that getting rain, that is called wind world side, and another side is not getting wind. Then cyclonic rainfall. Sometimes when warm and moisture air rises and it meets the cold air, warm air meets the cold air and it takes the place of that cold air. It's called the frost. The lighter warm air is there. It rises over the denser cold surface, and when it happen cyclone, when that warmer air it takes the place of that colder air immediately rushing, and it's a result into the cyclone, and that hot and then humid air, warm air takes the place of that cold air, and the density is that cold air happens more, so it's a result into the cyclonic rainfall. Okay, this is the things are there, that pressure bands, you can see that winds, clouds, and periodic winds, local winds, and you can see that precipitation, convection, rainfalls, that humidity, condensation, clouds, dew, fog, frosts, and these all are things that is important for the atmosphere and for this climate and weather. So I hope you understand this chapter.